Let's go. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. For those of you that say, thank God it's Friday, good for you. I personally don't care. Every day is Friday for me. All right. It is actually kind of like perfectly suited to talk about this topic if you've ever watched the movie Friday. Anyway, let's talk about it. Is THC bad for fat loss? Is that devil's lettuce, beneficial, or does it hold you back more than it does or think it does? We're going to talk about that today. That's going to be the main line of our conversation. We're going to be talking about the effects of THC and your fitness journey. Of course, the good, the bad, the ugly, also the great, which most people probably are not anticipating. All right, so the one thing that I want you to do is when you join, share this out to a friend. You know what I'm saying? Invite somebody on that you know might be interested in this topic or any topic for that matter whenever we do go live. So I hope you guys and girls are enjoying yourself. Let me know how your day is going in the comments. I'll wait for y'all to stack up before I dive in and have this conversation because I know a lot of people want to have this conversation. It's something that I get asked a lot in the gym. Something that honestly, it's it's almost funny now when I think of it, how people think it can or cannot, when they justify or give me their explanation on how it affects them. So we're gonna break it down. We're gonna break it down. I'm gonna give you my experiences, of course, and I want to like preface with this, guys and girls. I'm not a doctor. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm not any form of like authoritative figure. I am an influencer, and I'm also a coach, right? So I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing or try what I've tried. But if you have any input, put down your information, put down a question, put down a comment. And at the end of this live stream slash podcast, I will 100% get back to you and we'll dive deep, dissect your question or comment and, help you out there a little bit. All right. So we're going to talk about it. Oh, homegirls, like, how's your day? Just trying to get ready for the gym now. Solid day so far, so good. I won't lie, feeling rusty, because I got was it 8, 9 days till my national competition? So my knees specifically hurt like shit. Even sitting right now, it really hurt. But whatever, you got to do what you got to do. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this real quick. Cut it down the middle, right down the fucking middle. All right. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. Is THC bad for your fitness? Is it like good or bad for your fat loss? We'll say. We'll focus mainly on fat loss since the people that ask me typically are trying to lose weight in the gym as opposed to build muscle because the guys that are building muscle and already sort of look okay, they already know what I'm about to talk about and it's not going to be of a surprise to them. All right, so let's break it down. And I appreciate the follow quick fighter on TikTok. Um Long story short, let's do this. Let's talk about the cons first. Let's talk about the things that you don't want from it, the bad things, everything bad about it that you probably are thinking about already. Let's just get that out of the way. And then save the best for last in terms of, you know, allowing yourself to open up and get that like new perspective if you don't already have it. All right. So before I dive into the cons, I want to let you know that personally myself, um, and I'm just going to be 100% honest, 100% vulnerable, and 100% just authentic as usual. We're just going to keep it a stack. Um, Overall in my life, I have, used THC. Even now, I currently like still use it. But the difference between now and previously, like when I was growing up, was I would say like I had a lot more of an abusive relationship with it as like I was developing when I was growing up, when I was younger, when I first started using it. Right. So that's one thing I want to get out the way. I want to let you guys and girls know that that is definitely a thing. Think of it like pre-workout or caffeine. Not only will your tolerance increase, like you will actually become more tolerant to THC, and you'll need more to get to a different, to feel the effects. It's the same as caffeine, right? In your pre-workout, or if you just take caffeine, if you take it consistently, you could abuse it, right? It has benefits, like it can help you through energy in the gym. But if you are like hauling ass and going 4, 6, 700, going extremely high milligrams a day for caffeine, it's going to have pretty adverse effects, right? So, just want to let you know, too much of anything is bad for you. I've definitely been on that side of having too much of it, and it's bad for you, right? It's bad for you if you have too much of it. Okay. So, with that said, with that out the way, let's dive into the cons and get the bad and the ugly out before we talk about the good. All right. Excuse me, my throat's dry. I've got to get water. Anyway, let's talk about this. We know first things first, if you've used it, it has the potential to be highly addictive, just as caffeine is essentially, right? You're gonna have caffeine or pre-workouts. monsters, any form of caffeine, right? And when you start to get used to it, and your body starts to get used to it, the same amount doesn't have the same effect on you. Like the same dose doesn't have the same effect on you. So you're gonna have to, use more and concentrate it in order to get similar effects or more effects out of that specific compound. Which in this case, I'm referring to caffeine. The same thing goes for marijuana. Same thing goes for THC. It's extremely addictive, just like caffeine, just like nicotine. It's extremely addictive. As I said, I'm gonna keep it a stack. Just gonna be real honest. Growing up, yeah, I definitely seen the ugly. When it comes to being dependent on it, even right. But my relationships change, and I'm going to tell you how that changed when we get into the pros. When I learned why I actually do this, or at least why I decided to keep it around, or how it benefits me, and how it could benefit you. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just giving you my experience. All right, word of mouth. Okay, so the other thing I want to bring up. So we know the first con is like it's addictive. You know what I mean? It's like caffeine. You take too much of it, it's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna make you just do shit that you normally wouldn't do, and it'll increase your tolerance, and that's just not good for you because you're gonna end up spending more for a similar effect of a dosage that used to affect you less. And we can also talk about how to keep it so that you don't need to get increase your tolerance, which is by using it sparingly if you decide to, right? And we can also talk a little bit about CBD um, in the pros when we mention the pros. But right now, we're going to talk about how addictive it is. It's extremely addictive, especially if you're going through something, right? You can use it as a crutch. It's like alcohol, even, right? So be aware. I don't like doing it every single day. That's not like that's how I know like I'm not I don't feel good. Like I won't feel good if I do that. Um, I'll be honest with you though. If I'm in pain, if I'm in if I'm like struggling to eat in my off season, when I say struggling, I mean like my last 2, 3 meals is like, okay, this looks like a lot to eat, and I don't think I have the appetite. Then I could probably catch myself doing it maybe 3 to 4 times a week, maybe five, if I'm really, really like bulking in that, right? But right now, it's not something that I'm doing. All right. I want to let you know. Oh my god, my throat. You hear that? My throat's really dry. Excuse me. Um, so another thing I want to bring up is how you ingest it. Because how you ingest it matters. Okay. Excuse me. How you ingest it actually matters. And it matters to me specifically because if you're gonna ask me off of the rip, like off rip, Matt, does smoking affect my like fat loss? Does it affect my fitness? Does it affect my stamina? Does it affect like any positive? Like, does it bring any negatives when it comes to me in the gym working out? I say my question to that is, well, how are you consuming it? Are you, using an edible? Are you using a concentrate, an herbal vaporizer? Are you using an elixir? Are you using anything of that? Like, I would ask you that because, in my opinion, that's dependent on like how much it's actually going to affect you directly. I'll say, not psychoactively. I mean, like physically, because as we already know, smoke is carcinogenic. Okay, anything you burn and consume, it's not good. Period. Even if it's weed, it's like you're inhaling burnt plant material. There's carbon monoxide in that. Carbon monoxide is a toxic carcinogen, and that when being consumed on a regular basis, can build up tar and mucus and phlegm in the lungs, and actually mess with the alveoli in your lungs and your ability to absorb oxygen or to absorb oxygen into your bloodstream from your lungs, right? Because you'll damage those small things, those small, we'll say, microorganisms in your lungs. That's just any smoke. Let it be as cigarette nicotine. Let it be weed, anything like that. Anything you burn and inhale is not good for you. But the keyword is burn. All right, burn. So a con, I would say, which is not really a con because you can really control this. Um, you know, is smoking, like actually burning the plant and inhaling it, like and ingesting it through burning it. That's a bad, in my opinion. It's a big con because it will affect your endurance to an extent. If you're doing cardio consistently and you still smoke, you may not feel like a big difference. But if you don't do cardio at all and you smoke and you train, and then you start to do cardio and you still smoke, and you're really gonna feel it. Okay. So just in general, even though weed hasn't really been known to, I guess you want to say, you guys can quote me on this, to kill anyone, especially through smoking. Um, I still wouldn't recommend you actually smoke it. Myself personally, I don't smoke it. And just a lot of bad things come with the smoke, like the darkening of the lips, like the fucking odor. I know you guys hate the odor. And some of you, I mean, in terms of like the burning odor, it's fucking disgusting. You smell like roadkill, like you killed a skunk that was on fire. You know what I mean? And depending on how you handle social situations, it's up to you. But personally, I don't actually smoke it anymore. And to be honest with you, just to be quite vulnerable, just to cut it down the middle, I was it almost 2 years ago. So this June 13th will be 2 years since I dropped a lighter, since I stopped actually like using a lighter to consume THC. This is, one of the main reasons, because I realized it's unnecessary to just inhale carbon monoxide when I can, ingest this product so many different ways that don't, affect my lungs. You know what I mean? That are just more practical, right? Another con I want to talk about is munchies. Okay, we already know about this one. You get high, then all the snacks in the world that you didn't even know you knew start coming to your head. And now you want to eat it. Now you want to find it. Now you want to demolish it. You want to fucking abuse Uber Eats. You want to, abuse skip the dishes or whatever it is, right? But the thing with this, guys and girls, is it's like a yin yang sort of thing, because you can definitely get like, not everybody gets munchies. First of all, like it's based on the individual, and you could even argue the strain, but not every single buddy gets like munchies every time that they consume THC, right? Also, you can get in the munchies for healthy food. It's not impossible. I know there's like this stigma of like, once you get the munchies, it's like I'm eating a whole bunch of junk, pizza and weed, da 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 da. It's not always like that. It's like that when you have nothing in the fridge, though. I'll tell you that personally, because most stoners or most people that actually use THC don't have fucking ready food in their fridge most of the time. You know what I mean? They just don't, which is why they resort to the cheap or the fast options that they can just dial in on Uber Eats or just the snacks and things, and they just go off with that. But I'll tell you this much: when you have meals prepared, and when you have meals already in the fridge, meals already in, like, all you've got to do is pull it out and microwave it. Shit. When you get the munchies, believe me, you'll know where to go, because you'll have to wait the least amount of time to eat. And that's the fridge, where you have food prepared where you can microwave it. And that's meal prep typically. So for myself, when I would ingest it, when I would get the munchies, if I ever did, which wasn't just, it wasn't consistent. It was something that I knew that I could, utilize THC for. It did help with appetite, but the munchies, to refer to like flat out just being hungry and just wanting to eat the whole entire fridge, I would just go inside the fridge, grab the meal that is ready to get prepped, or to ready to eat that's already prepped, microwave it, and then eat it. Simple. Didn't have to think about going into Uber Eats. Didn't have to think about going to the cabinet, because I had food that was ready. And yes, sometimes you still want to eat some snacks, but cool, you can do that. If you already have your meals prepped, it doesn't matter though, because you can have your snacks and eat your meal prep, be on point, right? And just log in what you're doing. Again, 80% nutrition compliance. You don't have to be perfect, right? So that's one thing. I've used it for my appetite, but a con is that it can also make you eat irresponsibly in terms of like volume, right? Like you could eat a little bit too much if you have to stay, in a caloric deficit, which in a sense is not conducive to your success when it comes to your fat loss journey. So is THC bad for your fat loss journey when it comes to munchies? Depends on how disciplined you are, and depends on how, well, I wouldn't say disciplined. I wouldn't say only disciplined. It depends on how prepared you are and disciplined. If you're prepared, you've already got meals in the fridge, it's not going to be that bad. It's like you get the munchies, okay, open up the fridge. Your rice is measured out, your chicken's measured out, whatever it is that you're eating that's meal prep. You microwave it and it's down the hatch. Don't even think about it. And then you're going to thank yourself, shit, man, I'm so glad I had food already just ready, waiting for me to eat. Right. So, another thing I want to bring up, and this is probably one of the most important things, that if you've ever abused this substance, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, which is the lack of focus due to too much relaxation. And this is something that happens if you consume it way too frequently and way too much. Like if you consume it so much so to the point where you notice your tolerance has increased, that's bad. And it can be bad for your fat loss journey in that case. right? So be aware of that. Okay, but excuse me. Outside of the cons, let's talk about some pros. We talked about the bad and the ugly. Let's talk about the good, or at least what it has to offer. Okay. So, what does this really have to offer in general? Well, first things first, if you don't do it already, I wouldn't recommend doing it simply because it's THC is psychoactive. You will feel different if you're not used to, things like that. I wouldn't recommend it. I just wouldn't, flat out. I wouldn't. If you've never tried it, I'm not saying to try it, and I actually would recommend that you don't, simply because it's not it's not like caffeine per se. If you were to take caffeine, you just get the jitters a little bit itchy, but more or less you're still focused. Your heart rate's a little bit up, right? But it's not the same as having a psychoactive component, okay? But let's talk about the pros of THC. As we just talked about with the meal prep, it actually can help you with your meal prep if you struggle with, putting on size. But again, if we're talking about fat loss, it may be harder for you to, put down the spoon or the fork or the knife if you're looking to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight if you're high. That's just like odds are you're probably going to struggle with the munchies. Even if you're eating healthy, you might overeat. Okay. But I'll tell you this, if you're skinny and you're trying to get big, like how I was when I was starting, that munchies quality was actually a plus. So it could be a con and it could also be a pro, depending on what exactly you're doing. If you're losing fat, I'd say that it'd be a con. If you're building muscle, it could be a pro. Okay. So also it helps with sleep quality. If you didn't already know that, okay. If you are stressed, you're like anxious. Like when I say anxious, I mean like you have anxiety and stuff, and it's like midnight and you cannot go to sleep, it will actually help you go to sleep. If combined with melatonin, it put you out. And sometimes when I'm like really going through it and I cannot sleep, like personally, I don't use sleep medications. What I would do is I would use an edible, a form of concentrated edible or an elixir like a grapeseed oil infused THC. And I would use um it's a vaporizing pen. It's concentrated, THC vaporizer vaporizing pen. And I make sure that of course it doesn't I'm not using anything that combusts. I'm using things that either decarboxylate or evaporate with herbal vaporizer. So I'd either use an herbal vaporizer with, you put the herb inside and it has a ceramic chamber, no combustion at all, or a dab or the vape pen where it's sort of a decarbonization and nothing with an atomizer. An atomizer is actually burn the plant, so you pretty much might as well light it up. So just be wary of that. For myself, I'd make a combination. I'd have some melatonin, and then the edibles for the elixir. The grapeseed oil infused. Spray that on my tongue, and then maybe a couple of hits of the distillate pen, or just do a dab really quick. And that's if I'm like my eyes just won't even blink. Like I'm just up staring at the ceiling, and that will help. Really, really help if you've been struggling with sleep quality, especially if you're jet lagged. That is like you'll sleep like a baby. It'll really help you out there. That's a pro I can really tell you personally. Within my experience, that it's actually helped a lot with. Another pro I want to bring up is again, it sort of ties into the sleep quality, but relaxation and reduction of cortisol. So if you tuned into yesterday's live stream, we talked a little bit or a lot of it about stress, okay, and how stress can actually, make you retain water and fat, even though you're making the efforts to burn your fat and drop the water weight, right? This is because, I mean, it's just the way that cortisol hormone functions. It functions in a way where, once it's being released, your body is going to hold on to fat and water. Even if you are doing your cardio, even if you are training and you are in a caloric deficit, you'll still progress, but you're more likely to hit a plateau or slow down your progress because you're stressed out. And when you're stressed out and your cortisol levels are high, you get shitty sleep. Or the fact that you had shitty sleep is one of the main factors that you got the cortisol increasing as well as the stress. So it sort of ties in together when it comes to sleep quality and relaxation or reduction of stress when you're really considering the consumption of THC as well as CBD, right? Which honestly I thought I was going to get into, but we'll get into that another day. But THC is the common one. It's the one that most people are asking about when they talk about it. So that's why we're bringing it up. Um, but yeah, that's another pro there, guys and girls. It does absolutely help with reduction of cortisol and relaxation, as well as improved sleep quality, especially when you're struggling with anxiety or when you're struggling with just like say new time flip, jet lag, whatever it could be, it is for you. Okay. And this one is last but not least is not really, it won't be important to everybody. But when it comes to optimism, when it comes to, just believing in yourself, I think it's really important to just do that because if you can do that, if you have the ability to believe in yourself and be optimistic, you have the ability to be consistent. Because to do something for many days at a time and not see the exact immediate result that you want to see at the end, but you're still like working to do it, like with consistency, it takes like willpower. But where does willpower come from if you're not inspired? Where does willpower come from if you're not magnetized to the goal by being so optimistic? Like, where does it come from? Like it comes from the brighter side of things, your creativity, what you think is possible, your inspiration, your ability to believe. Those things are the moving parts that help you, as well as discipline and motivation, but mainly discipline. Those are the main things that help you actually stay consistent, actually fucking believing it shit is possible. And yeah, it can help with your creativity enough to make you believe that what you're doing is like the right thing, or that one day you may actually lose the 40, 50 pounds, right? Like it can put you into that state of mind, psychoactively speaking, depending on who you are. It's individual based, and depending on what strain, of course, and that's individual based. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I'm just saying based off of my experience and the experience of the peers around me that do lift and that don't, and the clients that I've worked with and have, I can say that, right? So I can just pretty much vouch for that. But that's it. That's all, guys and girls. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as usual. I'm going to read some of the comments here on Instagram and then I'm going to dip out and enjoy my Friday. All right, all right. What's up, Shiggy? I see you, dog. He says, I know this is off topic, but what do you think of Bang Energy? Bang Energy is not bad. Any energy drink, I love energy drinks myself. It's just they're fucking like expensive. They're worth it though. But if you're talking about bang for your buck, pun intended, I would recommend, if we're really looking at like you want energy from these energy drinks, I'd recommend ditching the energy drinks consistently. I mean, get them, stock them up in your fridge when you want. They taste good, but caffeine pills would do a whole lot better for you for a way lot less. You get 200 milligrams a pill for, yeah, 200 milligrams a pill, and you get usually about 100 pills for like less than $10, as opposed to like pre-workout. You're getting like 30 servings for like $50. It already smokes that in terms of per price per dollar. And then the same thing goes for the Bang energy drink, Monster energy drinks. Um, any energy drink for that matter. It's just a whole lot cheaper. If you're looking for actual energy, like real fucking like some top level pre-workout, just get caffeine pills. They sell them at supplement stores. Again, I'm not a doctor. Check with your doctor before you get caffeine pills or even start consuming caffeine or THC, anything of that matter. Again, I'm not telling you guys and girls to do anything. I'm just saying, or talking from my experience. And, honestly, replying to your questions with what I know based off of the clients that I've worked with myself and my peers. Okay. But that's my answer to you, Shiggy. Hey, homegirl's like, it's been helping me with ADHD since I was 17. Helps some people with focus. Absolutely helps with, yeah. So focus, clarity, creativity. Again, depending on the strain, depending on the individual, right? It's like case. Homie says, what about THC drinks? THC drinks, again, I would put that in the category of edibles. So I would say I'd recommend that over smoking. Okay, I'm not recommending anything in general, but if you had to ask me, use a lighter or drink a THC drink, use a THC drink. First of all, it's gonna metabolize differently, so you're probably gonna get more out of it, especially if you have a fair to high tolerance, because the way that it will decompose in your liver, and the type of THC that'll turn into will stay in your system for a lot longer. It'll bind to your fats a lot better. I mean, if you don't already know how it works, I'm not gonna like give everybody a science course here on how THC works, but um, yeah, THC drinks, I would consider that in the edibles category, like with the brownies, with the gummies, and with the elixirs, like the oils and things. So, you know, that's uh that's something that I wouldn't turn away from. I'd rather that than actually use a lighter because any carbon monoxide is just unnecessary. Homie says, Bang Energy helped me get a deal, knocking doors, no cap. Yeah, throwback, man. You giving me some memories there. Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all so much for giving me the time of day. I hope you guys have a fucking really sick ass weekend. I won't even lie to you. Like, I don't have all the energy in the world. I will be getting ready for my show and hitting peak week by this Sunday. So I'm not this weekend, but next weekend I'll be on the national stage. So stay on the lookout for that. I'll be there, crushing it. But right now, it's like a whole bunch of work, and I love the work. And you're gonna see it on me. You're gonna see everything. I ain't got to tell you. You just see the work. But if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's MATT space BUTALE. Again, MATT space BUTALE. Matt Butale. Hit me up on YouTube. Search for me. Subscribe to me right now. I can see y'all in this live stream on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So you know what's good, people. All right. Oh, I got a couple more comments. She says he's also the opposite when it comes to sleeping. He can't sleep on weed, keeps him awake. Again, individual based and strain based, right? It's 100% like it's nothing's universal, when it comes to any psychoactive compound like that. But also, I mean, psychoactive compounds have a pretty bad rap in the community in general, and just for like mental health and which I mean, mental health is a huge function. Like if you don't have a healthy mind, you cannot do anything. Period. Right. Like I'll be honest with you, I'll be 100% vulnerable. Um, Even like the psilocybin, like psychedelic mushrooms, like they assist. And I think lots of studies now are being brought out nowadays to show their actual benefit when it comes to your mentality, when it comes to like overall optimism in your life and the quality of your life, how that can increase once your perspective change. And psilocybin has like a really, really good, of course, when dosed correctly and responsibly, good ability to make you, uh, or open up that part of your mind, right? So, and like this is no hippie talk. Like there's literally studies backed up on this. We could talk about this one day. I wouldn't even be opposed to that. But again, we're not here to talk about fucking weed and shrooms. I'm just bringing this information to you. If you already consume THC and you are looking to burn fat or change your body, specifically burn fat for this live stream slash podcast, because I want you guys and girls to know it's possible. It's 100% possible, right? But it's not practical in terms of like, oh, I need pre-workout to go have a good workout. Let's buy pre-workout and always use pre-workout. No, it's not like that. I mean, even if you're doing that with pre-workout, it's not really good. I would pretty much use it only on leg days where I really need it, where I'm really gonna push. Otherwise, you're gonna build that tolerance, and then you're gonna need to spend more on it for the similar effects, and it's a waste of money. And then you get in that same rabbit hole with any compound. Again, too much of anything is bad for you. All right, remember that. Never forget, no matter what it is. Homie says I just hit 500-pound deadlift at 18. Yo, big up, congratulations, dog. This guy's a Hulk for that. Homegirl's like, no, side stumps are great. I know, I love it. I have to stop myself. Excuse me. I've got to stop myself from actually doing it because I will stay on here for like 3 years and just talk away about it because I love it myself. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing me, homegirl. You know what's up? She's like, that actually cut off half of what I was saying. Oh shit. She's saying I was saying he can't eat on it, sorry. And I was agreeing with you on the fact that it's individual based because he gets the exact opposite of what most people get. Exactly, yeah. And for me too, like I would get them when I was starting the most opposite or adverse opposite reactions. And then as time progressed and passed, it's things changed, right? Things changed. My physiology changed, everything changed, right? But sometimes it doesn't change, right? But again, no shoe. It's not like one size fits all, right? So that's pretty much what it is. You know what I mean? But you already know what's up. You know what's up. All right. You already know, people. I'll be back again on Monday for another live stream. This is the last one for the week. We go live Monday to Friday. If you didn't already know, now you know. I hope you, your sister, your mom, dad, and your bro have the sickest motherfucking weekend of your life. Peace out. Thanks for giving me your time. Love y'all. We are fucking out.